Fractions by Tracy LaHillier. What is a fraction? A fraction is a number that expresses part or a portion of a whole. Fractions are written as x over y. X is the number on top. It is called the numerator and it must be a whole number. Y is the number on the bottom. It is called the denominator and it must be a whole number that is not 0. When working with fractions, there are a few questions that you may want to ask yourself. Number 1. What is the unit? Is the unit a small rectangle? Is it a large square? There are many different possibilities for the unit to be, and by asking yourself this question, you can think of it as a whole before thinking of it as a fraction. Number 2. How many total pieces are in the unit? By acknowledging the number of total pieces in the unit, you are getting part of the answer for the fraction name. Number 3. How much is each piece? By answering the previous question, you will have the answer to this question. If there are 2 equal parts in the unit, you will have halves. 3 equal parts, you will have thirds, and 4 equal parts, you will have fourths. The original name of the number is very similar to the fraction name. Questions continued. Number 4. Are the pieces equal? If the pieces are equal, the fraction is much easier to deal with. Number 5. How many pieces are shaded? This question will give you the other part of the fraction name. And number 6. How much is shaded as a whole? By putting the number of pieces shaded over the number of total pieces in the unit, you will have the fraction name. Practice. What is the unit? This unit is a medium-sized square. How many total pieces are in the unit? By counting each individual piece in this, you will get a total of 4 pieces. How much is each piece? Since there are 4 pieces, each piece is a fourth. Are the pieces equal? Each piece in this unit is equal to all the others. How many pieces are shaded? 3 pieces in this unit are shaded. How much is shaded as a whole? 3 out of the 4 pieces are shaded, so the fraction is 3/4. Fractions can relate to our everyday life. Take a pizza, for example. In this pizza, there are 8 equal pieces. Out of this pizza, how many pieces are being touched by a person? There are 4 out of 8 pieces that are being touched by somebody, so the answer is 4/8. Now we will learn how to add like fractions. Adding fractions is very similar to adding whole numbers. One rule in adding fractions is that the denominator must be the same before adding the fraction. For example, you cannot add 1/2 and 3/4 before adjusting one of the fractions. For now, we are just going to stick to adding like fractions, which means the denominator will be the same from the start. By answering the questions that you did before, you can easily get your answer. The first unit is 1/4. The second unit is 2/4. So your answer is 3/4. Note, the denominator stays the same, just the numerators are added. Subtracting like fractions is the same as adding like fractions. The denominator must stay the same. All you have to do is subtract the numerators. The first unit is 4/5. The second unit is 3/5. So your answer is 1/5. Note, the denominator stays the same, just the numerators are subtracted. Another real-life example. If I have a full pizza, 8 slices, and then take 3 pieces away, how much do I have left? The answer is 5/8, also written as 5/8. Now that we have a grasp on adding and subtracting like fractions, we can move on to adding and subtracting unlike fractions. Unlike fractions are 2 different fractions that have different denominators. For example, 2/5 and 4/10 are unlike fractions because 5 is the denominator of the first one and 10 is the denominator of the second one. So what do? We need to get these two unlike fractions to have the same denominator so we can add them and subtract them as like fractions. With the example 2/5 and 4/10, what is a multiple of 5 and 10 that we can use for the denominator? By listing off the common multiples of each number, we can find a common denominator. Both of these lists have 10 and 20 in them, but since 10 is less than 20, we will use that one. So now that we have found a common denominator of 10, how do we get these two fractions to have this? Since 4/10 already has a denominator of 10, we just need to adjust 2/5. We have to multiply the top and the bottom of the fraction to make sure the denominator is 10. So we find the number that multiplies 5 by to get 10, which is 2. It is very important that you multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. So you multiply 2 by 2 to get 4, and 5 by 2 to get 10. So your new fraction is 4/10. So the first one is 4/10 and the second one is 4/10. So your answer is 8/10. Notice that the denominator stays the same throughout the problem. Congratulations! Now that you know how to add unlike and like fractions, you will be able to master any problem. The next 2 pages have an example to test your knowledge. Good luck and have fun. Number 1 is 2/8 plus 1/4. Your answer is 4/8. By finding the common denominator for the two fractions, you will find that you can multiply 1/4 by 2, which will give you 2/8 plus 2/8, which is 4/8. Number 2, 3/6 minus 1/3. Your answer is 1/6. By finding the common denominator for the two fractions, you will find that you can multiply 1/3 by 2, which makes 1/3 into 2/6. Then by subtracting 2/6 from 3/6, you will get 1/6. I hope you enjoyed your learning experience.